Okay, if you could just continue writing on your multiplying fraction notes. We are now going to cover the topic of multiplying mixed numbers. We're going to be using the exact same steps that we have written in these notes. So you'll notice that the first step says to make sure each fraction is written in A over B form. So what that means is when you have mixed numbers, you can't multiply them that way. You have to change them to improper fractions so there's no whole number in the front. So let's remind ourselves how to do that. To change to an improper fraction, you take 6 times 2, and then you're going to add the whole number. So 6 times 2 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So my new fraction is going to be 14 over 6 times, do the same thing for the other fraction. 10 times 3 is 30, plus 2 is 32. And we have 32 over 10. So from here we're going to go to step 2. Step 2 says to simplify vertically and diagonally. I'm going to look at my diagonals. I have 6 and 32. I notice that they're both even. I know other factors of 6 are 3, which doesn't go into 32, and 6, which doesn't go into 32. So I'm just going to start with 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 32 16 times. Recheck 3 and 16. Nothing goes into both of those, so now I'm going to move to my other diagonal. 14 and 10. I see they're both even, so I know 2 goes into both of those. Check some other ones. 5 doesn't go into both. 7 doesn't go into both. So I'm going to stick with 2. 2 goes into 14 7 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. I need to check my verticals. This vertical is 7 and 3. Nothing goes into 7 and 3. And this vertical is 16 and 5. Nothing goes into 16 and 5. So at this point, I would multiply across. So I have 15 in my denominator. And in my numerator, I have 7 times 16. I'm going to do that real quick. You got to show your work. I get 112. So I have 112 over 15, but that answer is not acceptable because it is an improper fraction. So what we need to do is we need to change it to a mixed number. So I need to see how many times 15 goes into 112. To do that, I am going to actually do a long division problem. 15 does not go into 1, does not go into 11, goes into 112 7 times. 7 times 15 is 105. When I subtract, I get 7. So I see my mixed number is 7 whole times. That comes from the 7 up here. My numerator will be 7. That comes from my remainder down here. And my denominator is 15 because I divided by 15. Recheck to make sure that your fraction is simplified. Nothing goes into both 7 and 15. So my answer is 7 and 7/15. Now notice you're going to have to do all this extra work over here. You are not going to be able to just do all of this in your head all of the time. So please make sure you are showing your work and the steps that you're doing. All right, let's have you try one on your own. 4 3/8 times 6 2/5. If you could do the work, pause the video, and then come back to check your answer. Okay, so 4 3/8. I'm going to start with 8 times 4 is 32. plus 3 is 35. So I have 35 eighths times 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32, 32 fifths. I'm going to check my diagonals, 8 and 32. I know that 8 actually goes into 32. So 8 goes into 8 once, 8 goes into 32 4 times. 1 and 4 can't be simplified anymore. 5 and 35. I know that 5 goes into both of them. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 35 7 times. 1 and 7 can't be simplified anymore. I have 7 in my numerator and 1 in my denominator. Can't do anything there. I have 4 in my numerator, 1 in my denominator. Can't simplify anything there. So I'm going to multiply across. 7 times 4 is 28. And 1 times 1 is 1. And 28 over 1 is 28. So if you could go practice with the required worksheet that we gave you, and then we will move on to video number 3. Thank you.